Hi, my name is Kate and I OM. I'm 40 years old, I live between UK and California, and I'm an art therapist. I've been OMing about 15 months. In the 10 years or so since I've been a single parent, as I watch my sons grow up, I realised the degree to which they really only knew parts of me. Since starting this practice, I became aware that there were parts of me that I was really editing out completely, like just kind of pretending they weren't there. Like doing that over a long time, it does funny things, like you can almost start to believe yourself that they're not really there or they're not important, and that's kind of what happened to me. I'd arrived at a point in my life where I knew there was something missing. There was something that I hadn't been attending to, and I honestly didn't know what it was. So when I read a couple of books that eventually led me to meeting my first OM partner and setting that up and doing the training and everything that came with it, at that point it wasn't that hard for me to say yes to, because I knew there was something in me that needed to be filled back up. So the first thing I remember about my first OM was how quickly the nervousness disappeared. The muscles kind of in my torso, my chest, my shoulders, everywhere, like relaxed progressively as my partner started the noticing step. And I remember at the time thinking, or kind of just wondering, like, oh, like these extra waves of relaxation are so welcome. I wonder what's creating them. And maybe not at the time, but very, very shortly afterwards, I became aware that, like, well, no one's put attention on me, on my body, on my sex, on my genitals in that way, maybe ever. I just felt so seen and then relaxed and very alive. I remember some of the sensations from my first OM. I just remember a huge amount of warmth. Like my belly and my hips and my thighs, like all of that was just like kind of like radiating warmth. Again, it kind of moved in and out, but I particularly remember my lower abdomen, this like huge warmth. And I knew it wasn't the warmth that was being generated in the room. There was another source. As soon as I'd had that first OM, I could feel this appetite, like this hunger, just like, there was almost like a head rushy kind of sensation that stayed for days and days after my first OM. Realizing that and acknowledging that to myself was really like, it was almost scary because it let me feel like how far I'd let myself go without like nourishing this part of myself. If that appetite was there, and it really was, I could feel it very strongly in my body from the first OM. If it was there, it was gonna need feeding. Like I could feel it now and there was no ignoring it. I'm now like a version of myself that will say what I want in the moment, like much more immediately than I would have done before. Relative to how I was before, it feels quite kind of like dramatic, like this thing just comes out like, oh, I want frozen yogurt in the middle of the day, and I'll go and get it. It's become really important to me that my sons know all of me, like know the real me. How they relate to every other woman that they meet in their life will in some way be coloured or affected by the experiences that they've had with me. It just feels like the best way I can serve them as young men is like to really be this kind of like brightest, boldest version of myself, so they're not surprised when they come across another woman who's like has desire and voices it and lives from that place. So now I find it easier to say yes to things. Like it wasn't that long ago, a friend of mine was throwing a birthday party in New York. A few hours had gone by, like maybe a day or something. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna let myself have that. And before I just would have had this story about like how it was such an inconvenience and everyone would have to, you know, cope for the weekend while I was away, and how was that gonna be possible? And this time I was just like, well, you know what, I'm gonna do it because it feels like the congruent, like authentic thing that I want to. And she was so happy, and I'm so glad that I can give myself things like that now when they come up. My name is Kate and I OM.